Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pieces of Paradise. Today we'll be at the Magalia Reservoir, Paradise Lake, and perhaps Noble Park. There's a lot of things happening in the Paradise community, and we'll be talking about the reservoir, its impact on the community, also Paradise Lake, the jewel of Paradise, and then going over to Noble Park with wonderful things to come. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to invite you to Pieces of Paradise. Come along with us. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, as promised, as part of the Pieces of Paradise, we're now at Paradise Lake. And with us today is Dan Efseaf, who is the general manager of the Paradise
District
Recreation.
manager.
We'll call it a district manager for the Paradise Recreation and Parks District, representing many different properties and projects within the community. And you know, about 5 miles outside the community, you have this beautiful lake, the gem of Paradise. Dan, can you tell us a little bit about the lake and perhaps plans that you're going to want to engage in?
Yeah, I'd be happy to. So we were able to work with Paradise Irrigation District last year to take over Operation the Lake in June. And we're so excited about being able to bring some more recreation and improvements here. PID's been a great partner and very supportive of us taking over the operations here. And we have some big ideas. So we're going to do some things out here. We've improved some of the trails, but we're looking at adding some other amenities too. Over here, we have just the boat house, but long-term, we're going to put a little boat dock here for classes and for accessibility access, and then improvements at the other places as well. Big thing for us, Mark, is just adding more programming and keeping this place busy. So we have plans for 5K runs, nature walk, journaling, and then also doing some events with kayaking. Last year we had 2 great events. We had kayaks on the lake. We had an astronomy talk after an evening paddle, and it was spectacular. You know, you get to look at the stars. We have stars all the way down to the horizon here. Clear, unimpeded views, and it was great. COVID safe.
Wonderful too, and that you get the opportunity to bring people out, especially with the COVID and with the campfire of 2018. This area is virtually untouched as a result of the campfire, which brings a lot of people up, I'm sure, for recreational activity.
It does. You know, this is a place. It's a very tranquil place. There's, as you mentioned, I mean, a lot of the trees are intact. There were some efforts just away from the hill here on some fuels reduction that I think made a huge difference, and actually may serve as a model for us doing that type of work in other places. But you can see the watershed's intact for good water and good clean recreational purposes out here.
Exactly, and I understand that's part of the plan, is the recreational, or rec tech as we would call it, within the community, and bringing people up to our small little town to be able to enjoy some of the recreation availability. Is that correct?
Yeah. So, you know, this is, like you mentioned, this is a jewel. It's an anchor for a lot of recreation up here. And so what we've been successful at bringing in a new grant. So we have a $500,000 grant.
Wow.
To link this up with Magalia. And so it'll be a loop trail on land already in public ownership. So open up those areas for bikes and hiking, and in some areas that are appropriate, there'll be activities, equestrian use and so forth. But, you know, I think that being able to have this kind of corridor in here, there's nothing like it in our county, and maybe nothing like it in our region quite like that. At this elevation, with this amount of shade and the amenities that we're going to add. So we're quite excited.
Yeah, and it makes sense that you'd be actually connecting those activities from the Magalia Reservoir to Paradise Lake and vice versa. How does this lake actually play out with the Paradise Reservoir or the Magalia Reservoir? How does it feed that system? What does it do?
Yeah, so this is part of a Little Butte Creek watershed.
Mm-hmm.
Very important to have clean water. What happens upstream? So this whole watershed in here is forested, and they've done a lot of things to try and protect it. But we have good clean water here, and the plumbing gets a little complicated, but this is en route to Magalia Reservoir. And the Paradise Irrigation District does some things with managing that water between the 2 reservoirs. They actually have ability to move it back upstream for pumping purposes and so forth. But that gives them a lot of flexibility how they manage the water. Drinking water source for lots of people in our area.
Right, and it's a wonderful collaboration, as you've indicated, between Paradise Recreation and Park District and Paradise Irrigation District. So Dan, I understand that there's the opportunity to do some hiking here, and then we have trails around the lake. Maybe you can speak a little bit about that.
Yeah, we have about a 5-mile trail out and back that goes from the picnic site here, snakes around the lake, always within sight of the water, and ends up on the other side of the lake. A little bit of up and down,
Right.
But you know, and a couple of hills that if you're the least bit winded, it'll give you some challenge. But it's a nice pace and distance for, you know, all members of the family.
And today, you had mentioned earlier, I mean, look at this. We've got some snow out here. Yeah, granted, we're in March, but there's opportunities to come out here, use some snowshoes, maybe even just some good boots, come out and go for a nice hike. It's absolutely beautiful out here.
Yeah, we've been joking around the office about we need to bring our cross-country skis and add that to our portfolio of activities for the district out at the lake here.
One thing that I think people want to know is, what is the availability? That is, what are the open hours of the lake?
We do have seasonal hours, but it's now open year-round. It used to be closed during certain parts of the year. We like to have a kind of a kickoff during the busy season, so we'll have a lake opening in April or May. That'll coincide with a fishing derby. Last year, COVID restrictions, we had a good plant of trout here, and we couldn't do the traditional fishing derby. So we did a photo fishing derby, and we had some spectacular pictures online shared with us. Anything from little kids with big fish to big guys with little fish, and everyone with smiles. And probably one of my favorite submittals was a non-human angler, and that was someone taking a picture, a video actually, of the bald eagle skimming the lake and coming up with a fish. So just
wonderful, and it brings families out, and kids have the opportunity to fish. It's wonderful that Paradise Recreation Park District is offering that. I know it's an extension of Paradise Irrigation District, but again, that collaboration seems to be working for everybody as a win-win.
It is, and we mentioned those two partners, but what we're looking for, we already have a couple of sponsors for this year. That whether it's virtual or whether it's in person, we have people that are businesses in our community willing to support that and have a nice event for people here. So, you know, just it's nice to have that support, and we're always looking for partners on this type of thing. That's been a hallmark of what we've done, you know, for the last 2 years. It's been good partnerships and bringing great things to the community. So maybe you could tell people where do they get this information if they want to sponsor some of these activities, or if they're looking for specific information about the lake, where would they go? Yeah, so we do have our website's a good source of information, PrPD.com. You can always send us an email at info@ParadisePRPD.com. Call us.
Right.
And it's 530-872-6393. We have a page devoted to Paradise Lake. So that's going to be, it's has the basics right now, but on there are volunteer opportunities. We have weekly sessions out here working with the public, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, other groups. The schools come out here quite a bit to do some service learning. So they take care of trails, they remove some of the fuels, and maintain the beauty of the area. And all of that needs not only partnerships on the business side of things, but also individuals willing to come out here. The sponsorships also, we have information on our website as well that will have that. And our rec coordinators can answer a lot of questions if you call our office.
Well, Dan, we thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. We know that you've got a lot of things going on right now. And we want to remind people that if you do want to actually be involved in like a kids fishing day, and you'd like to donate something as a business, or you just want to find out about the information, making it clear, please get on their website, be able to see prpd.com. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for a piece of paradise at Paradise Lake. So ladies and gentlemen, we have an opportunity after going to Paradise Lake and being able to experience just another little piece of paradise at Noble Park, another feature by Paradise Recreation and Park District, and what they're doing in our community to enhance. And basically our community is all going to benefit as we walk through this process, and you get a chance to see what's going to be happening. You have opportunities for input. Please contact Paradise Recreation and Park District with your affirmation, your desire to see things change. and actually encompass some of the things that what were, such as Noble Orchard. We want some of those elements back, and you're going to see the PRPD's doing some of that. We'll talk to you soon. So Dan, can you tell us a little bit about Noble Park and what the design is going to be for the future?
Yeah, so welcome to Noble Park. It's an undeveloped park. We just added a addition to the footprint out here, and we just put in for an application for developing the park. So it'll transition. It'll have a little nod to its history as an apple orchard, but it'll have a wonderful developed area that'll have a barn-like structure that will have for community activities and events. A little open field that could be used for just general play, and then some nice features as far as playgrounds and a little mini adventure park. So a zip line, that was one of the top recommendations from the outreach that we did from students. And then this new piece is actually, you can see it has some trees left on it. It has a wetland, one of the few wetlands in Paradise. So it lends itself well to a little bit more peaceful nature experience out there. So we're going to have this transition from a developed park on over to this natural area. So it'll kind of fade from parking lot and developed walkways and basketball court and pickleball courts to kind of a trail system out here, an observation platform.
So this is new actually to the Pence area. I mean, there's been the schools at Ponderosa down the way, but generally speaking, having the recreational facility on Pence kind of opens that up to some of the activities on this side of Paradise.
Yeah, absolutely. We kind of view it as almost a bookend to our Billy Park. So, that's a really nice facility on that side of town, but there's, when we did, part of the proposal requires us to do a park search radius and facilities. And this has very few features in comparison to other parts of California that has this kind of, population that could serve. So, it's something that is needed in our rural community. And, I think that some of the features that were invited to the design are things people are going to be excited about.
And there's a buzz about town about this area actually having the historical aspect of apple orchards, and seeing the rendition that's provided gives people that feeling that it has been respected, but at the same time having the progressive elements that we're moving into, as you put it, the bookend of Billy Park, the idea that more people are going to be able to enjoy the park-like settings, both for the recreation and then also the calm nature type activities that are occurring on the same park area?
Yeah, it'll have some shared, I think, DNA with Billy Park. It'll have a developed area, and then kind of, there has that nice little trail that goes down to the grotto. Here's a very different experience. You're going to very flat ground, lends itself to people that may have mobility issues, getting out to a nature experience. And then the other part is it's going to have its own flavor. So it's going to have that agriculture, that old-time rustic feel to it. So it'll have its own kind of DNA that's shared on this side of town with the apple orchards. And we're even looking at retrofitting old tractors, making them playground safe. So that may become one of the features here. But we want to have something that's kind of iconic that's going to be part of this signature park.
It sounds like it's going to be a real featured piece within the community. And having come from Paradise Lake, where we had the opportunity to look at the recreational activities there, everything from the kayak to bike riding to simple walking, and then coming to this area, which is, as the bird flies, not too far, but basically people coming up to the Paradise area have multiple locations they're going to be able to enjoy, say for a full day or to spend the night and enjoy it with family or just explore a new area. So with this rustic type setting, there are going to be commercial activities here?
There'll be a very light footprint. So there'll be, I would say kind of periodic events. So, that barn space will lend itself well to a farmer's market, for example. So kind of we hope to have on a regular basis, help support local farms, help people get food that's healthy and wholesome and from our area. I think also that commercial space, or the space in there, will have a commercial kitchen.
Oh, wow.
So in this multi-event space, really, there's a need for it in our community for events and for weddings or just family get-togethers. So it kind of allows people some additional venue options here that is very different than what we have in other places, not only in Paradise, but I would say all of Butte County. So we're very excited about how the design has come out and the input we got from the community on it.
Right, and as I go back to that point about the buzz, people are talking about this as part of those rebuild features
Yeah.
with our community, and really appreciate Paradise Recreation Park District for their contributions. Just yet, you know, ladies and gentlemen, this is just another piece of Paradise having the opportunity to have green space within our community as we're doing our rebuild. And folks like Dan and the others from Paradise Recreation Park District being a partner in that process.
So, little walk. I was just going to point out a thing or two. So, we were down kind of this area here, but now we're kind of, you know, obviously in back of the line here. This is where the old footprint of the house was, and then the barn was sitting right over in here. You see, elevation-wise, you know, we've kind of risen up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And over here has a nice view looking down on the rest of the property. So it will have a little bit of a overlook in here. So that's this feature right here, where people can get views, a low gathering area. We may have some school groups come out here. So they may come out here for some wildlife observations and just some you know, water quality measurements or whatever. But this would be kind of the more natural transition to that more natural area. But you know, it just has a nice little feel to having it on this little overlook area. It just feels like a spot where you want to look down and kind of enjoy the park from there. And I can already hear in the background, I don't know if you guys can, there's a red-winged blackbird. Total wetland creature. So that's something that I'm sure we'll see.
So keeping this in its natural setting so that people can enjoy it, perhaps even study as school groups, but only being several hundred yards away from the actual pavilion type setting. So, and then, you know, all the recreational activities. So there's nice little separation.
Yeah, and this area in here, we see it as a little bit tended. So it's going to have some native plants and walkways. And then it'll go more rogue as you go out towards the wetland area. So that will be more just natural path and maybe a couple of benches. There's a nice little grove down there where people can sit.
Right.
So there's some spots there like that, but it'll be very minimal improvements other than the little pad that would be up here and sitting area. So nice place to picnic, you know, or have a get together. So we're excited about a lot of work to get to that point, but you can see it's a rough gem right now.
Are there tentative timelines? I know it's all dependent upon appropriate funding for this, and you've got a lot of projects, but I'm wondering if there is a tentative?
Well, we're starting on the cleanup already. If you look at the property that we originally own over there, it's in good shape. I mean, it has some piles that we need to burn, but all the trees have been, dead trees are down on the ground and piled up, and there's nice sight lines. We did a lot of that work with volunteers. So we've had our volunteer program coming in here and doing some work. We're just going to close on this property this week. So this is in a condition where we're going to have some improvements just to clean it up. If that grant comes through, we're looking at a 2022 start.
Wonderful.
So that would be, and it would have to be in the ground and ready in 3 years. So it's a pretty short turnaround.
And we've had conversations about Paradise Lake and about this park here. For those that are coming into the community or returning to the community and want to be involved in some way, volunteerism, we know, is extremely important and has been prevalent through the community. Who would they contact? What do we have to do?
Our office, we have a volunteer coordinator. In fact, there's an email. It's volunteercoordinator@paradisepprpd.com.
Okay.
So that's an easy way. We have a form online, kind of an intake form. So what people might be interested in. They may not be interested in the heavy lifting that might be needed out here, but they might be interested in participating in some of the trails days we have, or in the events. So we often need volunteers for events, and that's a good way of being that social aspect, being part of the community, and you know, helping us out. So we're planning a whole series of things this next year, including movies and picnics, and hopefully with COVID restrictions being eased, people are going to be hungry for those social interactions. Right. And we know, Mark, that folks that aren't even in our zip code right now still have that affinity, still want to come back and be part of their community, even though they may be living elsewhere. So whether they come back for just those events, or whether they come back and it inspires them to to move and be part of the community again, I think is something that we're glad to help support.
So, ladies and gentlemen, you've had the opportunity with us to be able to experience some of your pieces of paradise. We hope you've enjoyed it. Being here at Noble Park, seeing what the future holds, we appreciate both you watching this feature and getting the opportunity with the numerous organizations that have contributed. What's it going to be like for our future in paradise? Really, that's up to you. What's it going to be like down the road? Every single day we make movement. So we'd like to thank you again. My name is Mark Thorp with the Paradise Ridge Chamber of Commerce and the Gold Nugget Museum. And again, folks, please, if you like this episode, make a few mentions, a few comments, tell us what you'd like to see, and we'll do our best to cover it. So we'll see you in season 2. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been wonderful. Dan, can you tell me what you think about the Eagles not making it to the Super Bowl this year?
What's new? Is this a news story? I thought you wanted new news.
I know. Okay, please include that.